What is up, everybody? Welcome to Worship Plugged In. I figured a good place to start for this #1 video that we're running today is how to set up your guitar, specifically electric guitar in this video. So let's assume you have old strings on your guitar and you're going to be putting new strings on. So we'll start with taking your old strings off, putting new ones on. If you're using a Telecaster, this is going to be pretty specific to you. Each guitar is a little different depending on how your tuning pegs are set up. If it's a Tele style or a Strat style, it will depend sometimes on how you're going to set it up. On this side, it also varies. There's all different kinds of setups, but if you've got this particular kind of setup with a hole just runs in the back like that and through. So the easiest way I would say is get a tool like this. This particular one I got off of Amazon. I will throw the link in the description of this. Very easy. It's got the tuning peg little thing built into it, and it's also a string clipper. So you can use wire cutters though, those will work as well. But literally what I like to do is I'll go through the middle here and just kind of get these all cut. Like that. So once you get them all cut, you can literally just pull them off on this end. It looks like the other ones already came off, so watch out for that. Grab those. Alright, and then literally all you're going to do is push these out and they'll come out the back like that. Now is a good time if you're going to do any kind of cleaning, go ahead and clean it with the strings off. Always easiest to do that. I use this Proline lemon oil fretboard conditioner. So what I'll do is I'll spray a little on a rag, and then I will literally just wipe the fretboard down. This does a couple things. It conditions the fretboard, but it also cleans it as well. That is pretty much step 1, I would say, of setting up your guitar. Now we're going to go into all the other things. There's called a truss rod that runs from the neck of the guitar all the way through the neck, and there's different styles. Some adjust it through here where there's a nut. On this particular neck, it's got an Allen key right here in the side, if you can see that right there. That's how you adjust the truss rod on this one. So what we're looking for is the neck to have a little bit of a bow. We'll get into that a little later once we string this up. You will want to adjust your neck when it's got the strings on it, so it's given the proper tension, it's in tune, and then you can adjust your truss rod. So let's talk about strings here for just a second. I've tried all different kinds. I've tried all different gauges, 9s, 10s, 11s. Those are the 3 that I've really tried and played around with. I prefer gauge 10 to 46. So that is my gauge, and I like to get the nano web ones. That's just what I like the best. So nano webs, I prefer those, and I get the elixirs, guys. They're about, I want to say like $14 a pack, which isn't too expensive, but they are more expensive than some of your others possibly that you might get. So they are numbered. You got 10, 13, 17. 10 is going to be your high E. So your smallest gauge is 10. And so that will go in your high E position, which will be your bottom string. So let's go ahead and we'll dive into stringing this guitar up. Here's a little close-up, better close-up on the guitar and how we're going to start stringing this thing up. So a good rule of thumb, which I do, is I always start with my high string, my high E string, and then I go up to my low string. There's not necessarily a reason for that, at least I don't have one. That's just what I've always done, and it works out good for me. Now, one reason why I like these elixirs, particularly the nano web, I will also put these, I got these off of Amazon, I'll put this link in the description as well. One reason why I like them is they are super smooth to play. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can run one string in at a time. What I tend to do is run all my strings through just to get it out of the way. So I'll run it through like that. They just pull through like that and they bottom out. So I'll go grab my next one. This just saves time if you're not, you know, going back and forth. Next will be your 17. And last but not least, we got the 46. So one reason why I like 10s versus 9s, I know some people say 9s are a little more crisp or whatnot. When I use 9s, I notice my guitar, because I play very aggressive with my right hand. I find worship music is pretty aggressive as far as you have to, a lot of stuff is a lot of rhythm, strumming, and then octave stuff where you're just kind of digging in. So not only am I aggressive with my right hand, but my left hand, there's a lot of bends, and I found that 9s I would go way out of tune with. 9s would really not stay in tune for me, and 10s will. So there's a little bit of a theory behind this, and I'll kind of explain it to you. So on your high E string, what I like to do is I will cut about, let me find the high E string, here we go. I will cut about 2 inches off of the high E string. Because I want my angle of the string here on the end, you don't want it up too high, and that puts unneeded pressure on this point because your string will run under it like this. So if it runs under and then it comes way up, it's not going to stay in tune as well, it's not going to flow as well. So you want quite a bit of high E string left, and that goes for all the 3 high strings, particularly the two high ones, but if you just follow this, take about 2 inches off of your tip, your high E string, about that much right there. That works pretty good, I have found. And we'll pull it, make sure it's all the way through. We'll stick it. Now, this is where we get to how you run this. So you are going to stick your high E string all the way in there. Now we're going to flip it around here and start it like that. So we want this string to come around right like that. Now as we wind this up like this, we are going to keep tension on the string. We want to keep tension on it with this hand. I like to, you can either use your pointer finger, your thumb, whatever, just keep tension on it. We're gonna wind this up, and it's important that you wind it up where it goes under the string, if that makes sense. So it should make sense. You don't want your string to go above the previous string, so you want them to constantly be layered, you know, one rotation around and then your next string below that. That is very important to keeping your guitar in tune, and if you don't do this, your guitar will have issues staying in tune, trust me. I'll try to show you once I get this tight what I'm talking about. So let me get this up close for you guys. Hopefully you can see here. But right here, if this is focusing, hopefully it is. Come on. So right here, if you can see how it's layered down, that's how you want it. That's how you're going to want all these strings to be layered like that. So we're going to come to our next string. All right, make sure you don't crease any of these strings. You know, like set them to the side to where you're not sitting on them or doing anything like that. But let's come to our next string. Now we took 2 inches off of our last string, so we're gonna take, let's go another inch off. Something about, you know, go something about like that. So instead of 2 inches, take 3 inches off this one. Same thing, you're going to run it down the center till it stops. Then you're gonna fold it around like that. And now this one goes on the other side. Now you're gonna wind it up. Again, it's important making sure your string stays under the previous rotation of the string, so it's layered. That will ensure you get smooth tuning and your guitar will stay in tune. There's nothing worse than a guitar that goes out of tune while you're trying to play. It is super frustrating, and you know, it's just, it really messes with your confidence when you're up in front of a crowd of people playing and you're worried about your guitar going in or out of tune. So, all right, got that. Okie dokie. Now we are on to the third string. So what I like to do for this one, you could, just say, hey, take another inch off. But typically what I like to do for this one now, since we are on the third tuner here, we're going to go up to this one and we're going to go 1, 2 1/2. So we're going to go 2 1/2, and this will give us plenty. So we'll cut right here, and then we'll go ahead, slap that in. Except I did make a mistake, so I miscounted. I went from here 1, 2 1/2. You want to go from, if you're doing this one, you want to go 1, 2, and then right past it a little bit. So this will still work fine, but it won't have as much as I would have preferred, or as I normally would have. So make sure once again that it is under the previous one. That will work. Alright, now we are off to this one. So don't make the mistake I just made. Wasn't paying close enough attention. So we're going in this one now. So we will go 1, 2 1/2 right here. Alright, then we'll do the same thing. Plug it in, twist it around. And you're literally just going to repeat this process to the last 2 strings. And then once we have these all right, 1, 2 1/2 right there. Now if you are doing a telly style neck like I am, make sure all your tuners go in a counterclockwise rotation. So you want your tuner peg to turn counterclockwise because you want them all going like this. You do not want them turning like this. That is very important. So here at the low E string, we'll go 1, 2 1/2, which will be right there. And so something that I just like to do is very gently, but I will kind of work the strings a little bit to like kind of seat them and stretch them, because the strings will stretch, and you don't want to break the string, so don't nail it too hard, but definitely want to stretch them a little bit. now we need to tune this thing, and then we also need to set the action. And then there's also something called intonation, which has to do with adjusting the distance. This, pretty much this screw right here, to set the intonation on when we reach the 12th fret, and then we start playing over our, notes that are down here to make sure the intonation is in tune. So if we play a G here and then we play a G note down here, if they do not match up, it will sound really bad, and we adjust that by adjusting intonation either in or out. However, this guitar is already intonated, so I probably won't go over that in this video on how to do that. That'll probably be in a later video, but I will show you how to adjust the truss rod to get the neck and the action about where you want it. If the action is set too low, you're gonna fret out, and what that means is if you are trying to, let's say you're up here, most of the time fretting out will happen up here in the higher ranges, and if you press down here and you hit that, a lot of times it might sound like that because it's actually hitting some of these frets down here. So if your action is too low, you will have that issue where you will fret out. You can see here, even though we're not in tune, I have pretty good it's not fretting out anywhere up here, so that is a good thing, and that means I have the action set correct here because there's adjustments here, and then if the neck was not set correctly, it would also, the strings would be way too low and we would start fretting out. So it's pretty simple. It sounds a lot harder than it actually is. So let's jump into tuning this thing. The way I actually tune this is either through the Helix, or which is a pedal board, or I used to have an app on my phone, but typically you can go onto YouTube specifically and find there's channels where they have put a tuner and you just tune it by ear. That's probably how I'm going to do this because I actually don't have access to my tuner and I don't want to get out the Helix and plug it all in just for this. So let me go ahead and tune this real quick. So I just realized that for the previous segment that I had videoed about installing the guitar strings, you may not have been able to see the neck as well as I was hoping you had in the camera view, so I apologize for that, but I can't re-record that part, so we're gonna roll with it. Hopefully it gives you the information you need, but now that we have it in tune, we've got it set up, we're going to adjust our neck. Now, I've already tried to show you guys the angle, taking the camera, lining it down the neck. You couldn't really see as well as I would like you to see, so I'm not going to show you guys, but pretty much what we've got is you want your neck to have a little bit of a bow. So if you're looking down the neck like this, you want it to have a little bit of a bow like this, not a lot but a little. So if your neck is too tight, if your truss rod which runs through here, is too tight, it will start to pull up. As it tightens up, it pulls up. So if it's too loose, a lot of times it dives away, and then you have really bad issues with it fretting out, where fretting out, like I think I mentioned earlier though, fretting out is where instead of a note sounding nice and clear like that, it kind of is muffled like that. That is called fretting out, and that can be due to your action being too low, which is set back here, or your neck being way out of adjustment, in which case we need to either tighten it up or do something like that. So when you look down your neck, you should see a nice little bow, almost where your neck goes down, it dips down just a little and then just has the slightest rise. You don't want a big bow, just a little bit. So that's how you know your truss rod is set up correctly, is if there's just the slightest bow. If it is completely straight, that is not good. That's not what you want, even though that is kind of counterintuitive to what you would think. Straight is not what you're looking for. You're wanting just the slightest bow up. So on this one, the truss rod adjustment is right here, and it's a little Allen key. You turn. A lot of times there will be a truss rod cover up here, and with an Allen key adjustment, and you'll adjust through up here. So those are typically the two spots where you find them. I'll come in a little closer here for this one. If we see this, that is about where you want your string height. Hopefully you can see this and it's focusing. You don't want it like this. That would be way too low and you would fret out a lot. You obviously don't want it out here either. That would be way too high off the neck. So this is about the perfect distance, and you want it kind of oval shaped. So a little lower, maybe a little higher, then start sloping back down. So there's a nice rounded little radius here, because your frets are actually radiused as well. So you just kind of want to radius your string height to that. Now that is adjusted back here through the bridge. If you see these Allen keys, typically there's little Allens that will adjust your height. If you screw them in, it will bring the string action up higher, and turning them counterclockwise will lower the bridge or the action. So these three screws right here are how you adjust intonation. So we're not going to go into that in this video, but I will cover the basics of intonation. Intonation is when you play a note and then you go down here and play the same note and it's in tune. So this is perfectly set up. The intonation is right on. But if your guitar is out of intonation when you play, if you're playing a G and then you go down here to play some cool riff and it's off, you're gonna hear that pretty majorly. and it's not going to sound good at all. So intonation is another huge thing, and when your guitar is set up properly, the intonation is right, it's just a lot more fun to play. And when your guitar is not going out of tune every time you do a little bend, it's a lot more fun to play. Now your guitar can still go out of tune if you're playing really aggressive, you know, doing really high up there bends, you know. It still can slide from time to time, but even after that, and I just put these strings on and we're still in tune. So it's going to help a lot. 90% of why your guitar goes out of tune would be improper string installation and not tuning up to your note. So I'll cover that real quick. If your, let's do your low E string, let's say that is sharp, and you back it down to an E, don't do that. That is going to slide very quickly and go out of tune. So go past it, go into the flat, I guess, E flat or down there, and then tug your string to kind of tighten up everything, and then tune up to your note. So when I say tune up to your note, you mean start below your note and tune up to it. That will get the tension on the tuner pegs, like everything, right, and it will not slide on you like if you tune down to it. Also, as I'm tuning, I'm constantly pulling my strings like this. You know, if I get it set, then I'll give it just a little tug and confirm that, okay, all the slack's out, we're good. Doing that will really increase your chances of your guitar not sliding out of tune. And like I mentioned though, when I was using 9s, I found my guitar was sliding a lot because, like I was mentioning, I play really aggressive, and bending a lot on the 9s, just for whatever reason, was making it go out of tune. And so hopefully this has all been helpful. I know it's been a mouthful, but I guarantee you, if you take these tips and tricks that I've showed you today, your guitar will stay in tune better, and your guitar will, the playability will just be amazing. That's it, guys. Thank you for watching. If this was helpful, please give this a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please comment. Please subscribe. This is the first video of many. The main purpose of this channel is to do worship tutorials for electric guitar, single electric guitar parts. So where there is a, you know, rhythm, you know, lead parts, one man electric guitar covering all those parts combined, and kind of what we're doing with that. So hopefully this will be helpful and you will get some value out of this. Thank you guys for watching. Again, the channel name is Worship Plugged In, and don't forget, keep shredding, and I will catch you guys in the next video. I'm out.